Minimize kissing and hugging your child, and never let them sit on their mother's lap. Even if the child cries, don't soften, bend down, hold their hand, turn off the lights, and leave. This approach is known as the cry-it-out desensitization method, a theory embraced by countless American mothers as a parenting Bible. The cry-it-out desensitization method was introduced by American psychologist and behaviorism founder John B. Watson. Watson was born into poverty. His father abandoned the family when Watson was 13 to live with his mistress, and his mother became unstable. Growing up in this environment, Watson was a troubled youth. Throughout high school, Watson was rebellious, failing every class and frequently fighting. Twice he was arrested for armed brawling and was sent to a school founded by a church. Yet Watson was exceptionally smart. Before exams, he could cram a little and became the only student to pass the Greek exam. After graduating from the church school, he was admitted to the University of Chicago's psychology program and became a promising young psychologist. The Little Albert experiment remains infamous in psychology history. Any psychology student has heard of it. In 1920, an 8-month-old infant referred to as Little Albert was brought to Watson for experimentation. Only crawling, Albert was innocent and adorable, and Watson considered him calm and passive, ideal for experimentation. Albert's mother was a clinic nursemaid with little education. She didn't fully understand Watson's plans but was paid $1 per day. Thinking Watson was reputable and trusting no harm would come, she agreed. At first, Watson spent months letting Albert bond with furry animals like white rats, rabbits, and dogs. Then, during the next phase, Watson brought a white rat to Albert as usual. But whenever Albert reached out to the rat, Watson struck a steel bar behind him, producing a horrifying noise that made Albert scream in terror. After several repetitions, Albert began crying and recoiling at the sight of the rat alone. Later, Watson tested other animals, and Albert became afraid of any furry creature. Bunnies, dogs, essentially anything fuzzy. Extended exposure led to a generalized fear of all things fluffy. From this cruel experiment, Watson concluded, human behavior can be trained, fear can be learned. Based on this, he published papers outlining parenting methods aimed at adults' goals. Cry it out, desensitization. Method, delayed gratification, infant sleep training, and more. Watson's theories shocked both educational and psychological communities and were embraced by many American parents, damaging generations of children. Watson famously claimed, "Give me a dozen healthy infants. I can guarantee to take anyone at random and train him to become any type of specialist. Doctor, lawyer, artist, merchant, thief, beggar, regardless of his talents, penchants, tendencies, abilities, or race." In Watson's system, a child is a machine, input the proper training and molding, and the outcome is guaranteed. Parents should shape children like machines, punishing and forbidding unwanted behaviors to create society's elite. He even used these methods on his own children, with tragic results. His eldest son, James, suffered severe mental illness, attempted suicide multiple times, and died in his 30s. His daughter, Mary, also struggled with severe psychological issues and attempted suicide. His youngest son became mentally unstable and ran away. His granddaughter, Mariette, became an alcoholic and repeatedly attempted suicide. While the cry-it-out method might seem to produce resilient children, the resilience masks deep psychological scars, extinguishing trust in parents and the world, leaving bleak, lonely futures. The scientific community condemned Watson's experiment as cruel. Little Albert reportedly died at age 6, and the Albert experiment sparked widespread ethical debate. In 1979, the American Psychological Association formalized ethics guidelines to prevent such abuses. Watson later regretted his parenting theories, acknowledging his research was insufficient, but that could not undo the damage to his children and many others. The most horrifying aspect of his theories was the psychological destruction they inflicted. Neglecting children's need for love and treating them like robots led to twisted and abnormal psyches. Children raised on Cry It Out often suffer sleep disorders, personality disorders, even schizophrenia. This method, after costing a generation of American children their happiness, was finally rejected in the West. Today, new mothers receive advice from midwives and doctors to practice attachment parenting, which is widely recognized across Europe and America. Harlow's monkey maternal deprivation experiments. 40 years later, psychologist Harry Harlow's experiments with rhesus monkeys overturned Watson's theories, proving that infants need parental touch and affection. Initially studying learning behavior, Harlow noticed strange results. Monkeys separated from their mothers were fed but exhibited odd behaviors, staring blankly into space and suckling their thumbs. When reunited, these monkeys couldn't socialize and instead formed intense attachments to soft fabric, grasping towels and squirming when the towels were removed. Harlow created surrogate mothers, one made of cloth, tactile comfort, no nourishment, and one made of wire, feeding and warmth. Contrary to expectations, the monkeys preferred the cloth mother, only visiting the wire surrogate for food. In a second experiment involving frightening stimuli, the monkeys ran to the cloth mother, clinging to her until they calmed. In the third, motherless monkeys, having only been fed, became emotionally disturbed, self-harming, screaming, and later displaying depression and social withdrawal in adulthood. Some refused to eat, lost sexual function, and female survivors were violent or neglectful with their own offspring. Harlow concluded that early emotional bonding and physical contact, not nutrition alone, are vital for infant primates, including humans. He recommended that human infants stay with their mothers for at least the first 6 months. While obvious now, Harlow's findings revolutionized childcare in the mid-20th century. Hospitals, orphanages, and nurseries recognized feeding alone wasn't enough. Infants need holding, playing, and affection. Harlow's cruel methods ironically saved countless babies harmed by behaviorist theory, providing a vital course correction in parenting practices. Subsequent attachment research supports that children raised with loving care and responsive touch grow into confident, independent, socially adept individuals.